Trump sets a record with executive orders. That's been a headline all over the place. Even though Trump promised a huge batch of executive orders on day one, much of the press keeps acting amazed at the pace with which this has taken place. I do note that Joe the Demented did about the same on his first day, doing his best to destroy what Trump had done in his first term. Turnabout is fair play in both directions, folks. I do want to condemn the political situation in America where there is no cooperation between the parties. Running the world's largest economy with executive orders is simply wrong. There should be an orderly legislative process that focuses on what is best for the people of America. Of course, the courts have already jumped in and blocked a handful of his orders. Most recently, Trump tried to stop federal grants. This became confused because some claimed there would be a stop to Social Security and Medicare, which was false, of course, still created a bit of a stir over there. With the stroke of a penny, eliminated LBJ's Executive Order 11246, which created an affirmative action requirement for government contractors along with a bureaucracy to enforce it. I agree with this action as this made sense at the point that LBJ did it, but even the libs' favorite former SCOTUS justice, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, RBG, predicted that the time would be up soon for affirmative action. Well, it is now. Even if a Democrat follows Trump, I doubt it will be reinstated. In the interest of full disclosure, I am an expert on affirmative action plans and the compliance requirements. But in the last few years, there's been little call for my services in this area in any event. In other words, things in the industry have sort of floated away, and it's about time to put that cow down. The death of DEI was rapidly approaching in the private sector, and Trump has pretty much put the nail in the coffin for the public sector. The departing Biden administration tried to keep it in place by covering it up, but I do not think those efforts will last very long. Often haste makes waste. The effort to reduce the federal workforce is already a mess, in my opinion. First, Trump told federal workers to come back to work in the office. That made sense. The idea was that many would quit rather than return. However, before that could work, he then announced a far too generous severance plan. This is offering federal workers 8 months of pay and benefits to quit now. Some of those positions actually need to be filled. I predict the best and the brightest will probably take the money and go to the private sector. But the losers who cannot compete in the private sector will be left on our payroll. This is not the right way to redone a reduction in force, also known as a RIF. In fact, that is part of my personal expertise, but of course, the folks in Washington didn't bother to ask me. We will continue to provide frank commentary as this administration proceeds. Nobody and nothing is off limits in either direction.